We're about to find out what the heck is going on legally with NIL and college football. Can people just start suing Kirby Smart for no reason? Next, Locked On Bulldogs.
You are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Locked On Bulldogs podcast. He is Clint. I am Daniel. Today's episode brought to you by our friends at Monarch Money, monarchmoney.com. We'll talk about them more in a moment. Thanks so much for being here today. Thanks for making us your first listen. Thanks for being an everydayer. Thanks for being a loyal third segment listener, part of the 199. We appreciate you and are thankful for all of you that listen to this podcast. We don't take it for granted. We do appreciate it. We are just two guys who love Georgia football. We assume that you are a guy or a gal who loves Georgia football as well, and that's why you're here, and that's what makes this podcast fun. So we would love to hear from you. If you've got questions that you want us to answer, things you want us to talk about, at Dawgs Podcast or lockedonbulldogs@gmail.com, and we'd love to answer those things for you. But if you missed yesterday's show or Monday's show, I made an O'Toodles reference, and so you can check that out. I was proud of it immediately. I regret nothing and feel as though I need to apologize for nothing.
But how do you get a card that says your coach got hit by 2 tons of irony? How do you get a card?
That's correct. So tough times at Auburn. If you haven't heard that, you can go back and listen to that. But today's a new day, and Clint's got some new questions for me. And so, Clint, what is it that you'd like to talk about today?
I want to talk about, look, we can talk about people will get upset about anything in college athletics.
In anything.
In anything in life. Lee Corso is going to retire. They're not doing the headgear anymore. Well, that's great because if they did, there'd be an abomination against the tradition. No, they need to keep it going. It's college game day. Lee Corso is not bigger than that. We will fight about anything.
Sure.
However, this one seems a little bit more on point. The University of Wisconsin and its collective VC Connected filed a joint lawsuit Friday against the University of Miami. Now, stop me if you've heard this before. University of Miami
involved in a lawsuit?
No, in a lawsuit.
Nope.
If you go to South Beach, just so you know, just so you're aware, South Beach has many good things to it. Go down a little Havana, get
good
yourself
food.
a cup of get yourself a Cuban, a little cup of coffee, a little cigar, and just have an afternoon, listen to some great music. I love it. It's one of my favorite things to do. However, South Beach also is a place where you want to get in trouble. You just desire trouble to find you.
Yeah.
The Badgers go ahead and sue them because Miami seems to have tampered with one of the players for Wisconsin and wooed him on over to South Beach based upon a promise of collective. Daniel, I ask you this. Are we going to be seeing more of this happening within college football, or will we see a reform happen before more and more lawsuits get filed like this, Daniel?
No, we're not going to be seeing more of this happen. And here's why. Because nothing's going to come.
There it is.
This, Clint. There's nothing here. There's nothing here. And when I say that, I'm not saying that the Miami NIL collective didn't do anything wrong.
No, I'm sorry.
Nor am I saying they didn't do the thing that they were alleged to have done.
They tampered with this young man and promised him more money than the Wisconsin collective.
I'm in no way denying that. What I am saying is that this is a legal matter in the United States court system.
Okay. Well,
and let me just ask you a quick question, Clint.
Please.
Whose law did the Miami NIL collective break in doing this?
Well, it was probably something hard and fast, something that's really clear and decisive.
And like the United States of America's law? Was it that?
Yeah, like codified by voters.
Okay. It was a law probably in the state of Wisconsin or the state of Florida or the United States of America.
It has to be one of those, right? Because that's why they're suing.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. What if it was a rule belonging to an organization that literally has zero power to do anything at any time for anyone other than host a basketball tournament once a year?
You know that term emeritus, where people are just like on the like emeritus status, and you're just around to make a good face for a company, and you have no power whatsoever. That's the NCAA, except no one likes them. We've given them emeritus status. No one wants them to.
The NCAA has basically received an honorary doctorate in being the NCAA. Like that's what they didn't actually go to school and get their degree in being the NCAA. They have just been awarded an honorary doctorate in being the NCAA. They have no power. There's absolutely nothing that can be done about this. And so until the presidents, the commissioners of the conferences come together and reach an agreement, and that agreement, along with the college football playoff, bypasses the NCAA and puts regulations on NIL and the payment of players in what will inevitably include a salary cap. Until that happens, and that governing body has the ability to restrict participation in the college football playoff, which is the only thing that these schools and universities care about.
That's it.
Until that happens, you're going to see a lot more tampering, and you're not going to see many more lawsuits, because eventually people are going to go, oh, you remember that time the University of Wisconsin spent a lot of money to tell everyone that they got absolutely played by the University of Miami NIL collective? Yeah, there's nothing coming of this. There's not going to be any ramifications, because there's no entity. There's nothing. There's nothing there.
It's an agreement, not with the university, of one player to their collective who has no legal binding to the university that he plays for, and the collective of another university to which has no legal binding to the university there. And the player goes from university to university with both collectives yelling at each other who have no legal entity within the universities that are involved. This is why reform is needed. And also, by the way, here's what evidence you need of tampering. A player that just got a giant pay raise to come to Miami. Could you chronicle the ways in which Miami contacted you while still at Wisconsin? I have nothing to say on the matter. Oh, then we can't prove tampering. So guess what? We're done. That's it.
Prove it,
guys.
Prove it to who?
That's to
who?
So what I was going to say. If you could prove it, that's what would need to take place. But you can't talk to anybody about this. This is, again, there's a few things that we have just allowed in society that no one has really questioned. Like how Condoleezza Rice was on the committee to choose people to play. That's one that I go, we really thought this was good. Having sitting ADs of current universities on the selection committee.
Still happening, by the way.
Literally. Still happening.
Still happening. Objective. They recuse themselves, Clint, when the discussion is happening around their school, Clint.
If I know anything,
nothing but integrity. There's nothing but integrity in that.
Rich, powerful people doing what they say they're going to do to not further make themselves more powerful and rich.
Interesting.
Oh. We're going to come back after this. Daniel's going to ask me something that I'm not sure I'm ready to answer, but first these. Daniel, sometimes in life, you need a little help. You need some things that you need. And you've probably heard of Viagra or Cialis, maybe even tried them. But if you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time for Rogetti. Rogetti is next-gen prescription treatment designed to amplify arousal in the brain and boost blood flow. Unlike usual pills that can take hours, Rogetti 3-in-1 formula dissolves under your tongue and kicks in fast, on average 15 minutes, and it can last up to 36 hours. Love this completely online. Rigetti connects you to board-certified doctors and ships your treatment discreetly to your door. Head to Rigetti.com/lockedon. Use promo code LockedOnCollege, 15% off today. That's RUGIET.com/LockedOnCollege. Use promo code LockedOnCollege for 15% more. Individual results may vary with prescription treatment. Compound drugs are permitted to be prescribed under federal law, but are not FDA approved and do not undergo FDA safety, effectiveness, or manufacturing review. Please visit the Rigetti website for full safety information.
Clint.
Yes, sir.
That's enough about some nonsense national college football landscape. Let's talk about Georgia.
Let's get to Georgia.
Let's zero in on the team that matters. I'm going to open it all up to you, Clint.
Okay, great.
Okay. We've had a lot of conversations. We've had a lot of pointed discussions about a lot of players, a lot of position groups. We've had a lot of conversations about that were speculative, that were predictive. We've gotten the robes out. We've stared into a candle. It's been a great offseason so far.
Been fantastic, Daniel.
I'm going to ask you, it's currently the end of June.
Here we go. He's going to get to it.
We are cruising towards July.
We are.
I want you to tell me the storyline or situation on the Georgia football team for 2025 that makes you the most nervous.
No, geez.
Point blank. There's no getting around it. When this is the thing, could be an individual player, could be a situation, could be a scenario. You could be red zone offense, could be the quarterback, could be throwing, like it could be the deep ball, could be the run game. Like, I don't care. But you tell me the scenario or storyline or situation on this Georgia football team that makes you the most nervous. No caveats. No second place finishers.
No, none.
I want the one that is the top of the heap.
Okay, this is not a caveat. This is a clarifying question. Okay. This can't be. This has to be the most, like, the thing that I believe has the highest likelihood of being in effect, or the thing that I'm most fearful of.
I'm talking about when you think about it right now.
Okay,
the bubble guts immediately show themselves. Like right now, the nerves are in full effect when I think about fill in the blank.
I'm very confident in this team, Daniel.
Yeah, I know. That's why I started with this question. That's why I wanted to ask you this specific question.
Which
you're a homer, Clint.
Nothing other than a homer, which gives me pause immediately that I'm excited. Like,
it's uncomfortable.
It's not something I enjoy. I like the feeling of pain and discomfort. Okay. Yeah. And so when I'm feeling carefree and excited about something, I stop and I go, well, I don't want that to continue. That seems weird.
Yeah. It's a warm blanket.
Okay. This is not caveats, processing. I do truly believe Kirby Smart has set his mind onto things, and he has set his mind onto running the ball and stopping the run. So my biggest fears from last year are ineffectiveness to make third down, to keep the chains going, to run the ball more than 13th in the SEC will be rectified. I don't have questions.
You're not worried about it.
I'm not worried about that. We went out and got an absolute banger in McCray transfer portal. Yeah. Nate Frazier going to go ahead and get some run, but I'm telling you right now,
someone said he might be top 3 player on the offense.
That was me. I said that. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with the offensive line. Y'all can complain about Stacey Searles in the comments all you want. And truth be told, Daniel and I spent some time doing that last year. But I believe in Kirby Smart's focus. He's going to strategize strength, conditioning, and practice around that. Secondly, stopping the run. Jordan Hall, welcome in. Congratulations. Solved a lot of my problems and a lot of my heartache. I'm feeling great about that. Daniel, it's not even Gunnar Stockton, because honestly, Gunnar Stockton and the passing, I don't know exactly what the passing attack is going to be. First of all, Mike Bobo has always had a good passing attack while at Georgia, while anywhere. I have supreme confidence in that. And even if he's not exactly what I want, I believe in the run game and his effectiveness on the run, that our offense is going to be fine. I'm not, that's going to be bubble guts. Daniel, I get real nervous real fast about this fact. We have to depend on 3 transfers in the back end of our defense to shore up returning seniored cornerbacks who weren't good enough to leave for the NFL and get draft grades worthy enough of their attention. They have to come back and prove themselves. With safety help that we lost everybody save a true sophomore who only came on the last 2 games. With transfers. Go ahead.
Yeah. Who wasn't better than Dan Jackson. No shade on Dan Jackson.
None.
But KJ Bolden was a distant third in terms of our rank of safeties last year. And that's
correct.
Not a knock because the 2 guys in front of him were very, very good. However, but the guy we returned that's the quote unquote all world player was a distant third on the team last year at his position.
2 cornerbacks that couldn't get drafted come back to prove themselves. A all world 5-star once in a generation cornerback who can't break into the depth chart and starting rotation with those aforementioned seniors that come back because they can't make it in the NFL and they have to prove themselves. With transfers from schools that we crap on Sunbelt Billy for beating one time in his life.
Yeah.
That's who we're relying on stopping the likes of Arch Manning. I don't think he's going to be great, but I do think Steve Sarkisian can go ahead and drop a play or 2. Daniel, I believe that. Who are going to stop the likes of Alabama and the new offensive coordinator that Kalen DeBoer is not great coach, but I think he's going to be better with Milroe out of the picture. I do believe that.
Yep.
We're supposed to stop them and trust them not to have communication breakdown on the road at Tennessee. Daniel, I said a couple weeks ago that our cornerbacks might be a huge asset to us.
Yeah.
But the vacillation, like you said yesterday on the podcast, the over-under on South Carolina winning less than 5 or more than 9, you could take either bet and feel supremely confident. That's how I feel about this secondary. And I'm not concerned that we're going to get shoved into our faces on the run game, but I am bubble guts with can we trust the talent in the back end of the defense to actually stop receivers from running all over us in this secondary? And that keeps me up at night for this Georgia defense, Daniel.
Yeah. I'll give my full answer at another time, but he's not wrong. He's not wrong. And
I painted the worst case. I get it.
To be honest, there's certainly a better case than he painted. But I don't think there's a scenario in my mind where this secondary is awesome. I just don't see it. Like, I don't see a scenario where this secondary is awesome. I think they could be
hands down the second or third best position group in our entire team.
I think they could be good. I think they probably will be okay. I think there's a chance they could be kind of bad at times, especially. And that's all it takes to lose a couple of games. Clint's got one more question for me, but first, these.
And these are, in fact, Monarch money. Daniel and I wonder
constantly, where'd all my money go?
Where did the money go? Where's the beef between dining, online shopping, and entertaining. It's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. It's not just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. Stop managing your money and start building wealth.
Do that instead.
Easily collaborate with people within inside your household. Managing money with your partner is smoother than ever. You can track shared personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without the stress. Don't need more stress in life. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com. 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com. Code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. Daniel,
yes, sir.
We're going to save. Do you want to save your answer? You seemed ready to go with your question. If I was to pose the question back to you,
we can do it now if you want to do it now.
Let's do it now. Daniel, what keeps you up at night? You grabbing for just not only the bottle in celebration, but the bottle in depression and the bucket because it is trusty. It is worthy of your attention, and you are going to projectile your innards into it, thinking about this storyline for Georgia in 2025.
The storyline for Georgia in 2025, in my mind, that is, I would say not even close, but I do legitimately have concerns about the secondary. I very much have concerns about the secondary, and I echo that on your behalf. But I think the two obvious answers, Clint, are the quarterback and the offensive line. I think those are the ones where people are going to go, right? Yeah, we mentioned Stacey Searles in the second segment. Everybody hates him.
Everybody.
We talked about Gunnar Stockton and can he, can't he, will he, won't he? What will that look like with a full offseason and a full season under his belt? Now, every game isn't against Texas or Notre Dame, and so that will probably help Gunnar Stockton get his feet under him a little bit because he won't be going up against two of the toughest defenses in college football every single game that he plays like he was last year. The question is not which position group do I fear will be the worst. I want to clarify that before I answer. Okay. It's what scenario makes me the most nervous.
I hear what you're saying.
Okay. So I'm not saying I think this will be the worst position group on the team.
It's a very important distinction.
But a scenario that I can vividly picture in my brain and do on a regular basis, which causes me to feel a great amount of anxiety, is that Georgia has by far its most successful offseason in program history recruiting the wide receiver position.
Yeah.
And listen to me, by far our most successful season recruiting the wide receiver position in the history of Georgia football.
You didn't think Hines Ward was going to be who he was.
5-star freshman, 5-star guys out of the transfer portal.
Yep.
SEC leaders on their team in touchdowns from an SEC school that was an 8-9 game winner last year.
Correct.
Georgia did more work in the offseason recruiting the wide receiver position than ever before in program history. And there is a scenario where they just don't get it done on the field. That it's not a sure thing, Georgia fans. I'm not telling you I think the position group is going to be awful, but I'm telling you that in your mind you have built it up, right? That's where Clint started last segment, is that it doesn't feel good to us to feel good. No. And that's where I keep coming back to about the wide receivers. I keep coming back to this place of like, yeah, but how many of them are really better than Dylan Bell? And how average was Dylan Bell last year? And I know there's going to be a lot of people that are going to make a lot of excuses for Dylan Bell about he's playing out of position, and I don't deny any of that. But I was also at the games, and I watched it, and he had just as much lead hands as anybody else did last year.
Yes.
I'm hearing people tell me that Sokovie White is going to burst onto the scene. You and I had a long conversation about London Humphreys is going to burst onto the scene. Is this really the position group that we're saying is a sure thing to be a dominant force in the SEC? I believe Georgia's going to get things figured out in the run game.
Yeah.
But
yes,
they cannot be carried by the run game this year and win a national championship. They won't do it. Now, I know we talked about Ohio State last year. The running backs, the quarterback was average, but the quarterback was average. The running backs were not average.
What were the wide receivers?
The offensive line was not average, and the wide receivers sure as heck were not average on that team.
No.
We need a massive leap forward from our wide receivers from 2024 to 2025, Clint.
The logic that I gave in the second segment for the defensive back in trusting on transfers in the back end to shore up and become world beaters, because we've lost depth and we don't have a lot of high recruits that have stuck around in the defensive back room. We are relying on safeties who played for other teams. I just ask you, when a new quarterback comes in, and Gunnar Stockton, I get is not, quote, new. Like, he's been in the program. He played in the last 2 games. I get that. I do. But when you have a whole new crop of wide receivers who are new to Georgia and a quarterback who is new to the starting position, we talk about this all the time. It takes a lot to get on the same page, passing and catching the ball. It is not as easy as running the ball. Freshmen can come in, run left, run right, off tackle, find 6 inches and go. That's what running the ball. You can do that. To feel the soft zone in the defense and to trust the quarterback on timing issues to get it there is a whole separate issue. Daniel,
is Noah Thomas really that good? Maybe.
Iam Aviala went to UCLA because he called Tennessee and asked for more money, and they said, "We fine."
Yeah,
because you're not that good.
I'm just trying to tell you, it's not a sure thing. It makes me all kinds of nervous, but maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. You can let us know in the comments.
I've just been burned by so many drops. I literally am just.
I can't. I still vivid memories of the Sugar Bowl. Like, I mean, just watching it careen off people's hands. And we didn't even talk about the fact that we're bringing back those 2 tackles this year. We couldn't even even talk about that.
Is Ogboku possible to reclassify for 2025?
Oh, will we pull it together by the time we record another episode? Time will tell. You'll have to tune in and find out.
He is Daniel. I am Clint. This is Locked On Bulldogs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. And we will see you guys next time.
See ya.